Guys, welcome back to this channel. Today, or yesterday, I just saw the Batman. And today I'm going to give the review. After a day of thinking about it, literally like 24 hours, I decided my thoughts on it. One more thing before I get started, I've changed my mind. Instead of doing all modern Batman movies ranked from past 2000s, I'm also going to include the Burton-Schumacher Batman movies from the 80s and early 90s, or late 80s, early 90s. So I'm in the middle of watching Batman 1989. I've seen that one before. I don't think I've seen Batman Returns. I might have. I have seen Batman Forever. This was a while ago. I never saw Batman Robin, so that'll be a direct to get through. And we'll see if I want to see the Adam West one. I don't know about that because I'm done buying movies. I've spent too much money on movies, so I don't feel like doing much. So I'll let you know if I'm going to watch it or not. I'll let you know in a future video. One more thing, I am going to do Scream 5 review. That review should be coming out tomorrow. And then I'm going to do my ranking of all the movies when I get back from Steamboat, Colorado from skiing in a couple weeks. So I'm going next week. And then when I come back, that's when I'm going to do the ranking as well as the rest of my Batman rankings. My goal is to get the Batman movie ranking done by the time I go to Steamboat to go skiing. So, without further ado, let's get into my review. I don't know what this movie's about. This movie has Batman under this detective story where the Riddler killed the mayor, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, trying to stop the Riddler, figure out who like this rat person is, moving through with some revelations about Bruce Wayne and his parents. And this takes place sort of in a Gotham that has lived through all the crime, like the Joker, for example. So you have a lived in Gotham, a Batman trying to figure out how he fits into this whole situation, and you have these lurking threats around Gotham who are trying to take over the city, essentially. Different way than it was in the Dark Knight trilogy. Night of the Good, and overall, what I loved about this movie had amazing action. Like, every action sequence was standout. Like, whether it's the opening sequence with those Joker mask figures, or whether it's the car chase, which was incredible. You have the action sequence, the one at the nightclub, you have the one near the end with all the Riddlers, and overall, all of the sequences were just fan-freaking-tastic. And this is the first time we really got a detective story with Batman. Like, you got the crime thriller side of things with the Dark Knight trilogy, you got the origin story with Batman Begins, you got, like, the 80s superhero type things, or older superhero movies with the Batman through Batman and Robin, I guess, and you got 60s cheese with Batman 66 or whatever, and then you got more of a Batman animated comedy with the Lego Batman movie. We never really got a full-on detective story, and that's what this is. And I thought this story overall really worked for me. It does go into a bit of odd directions as you get into the end of the movie, where you have to have Riddler's plan and all the spectacle, but that didn't really bother me. I had a couple issues with that, but overall, it still didn't really hurt the movie for me. And I just at the edge of my seat the entire time, especially during the car chase. Like, I had a grin on my face the entire time. I'm like, yes, this is what I want. And overall, this is just what I wanted. Everything I wanted. Great story, check. Great Batman, which I was a little worried about at the time, but now I don't even know how I can dislike Robert Pattinson because I thought he was great in the role. Check. Great villains, check. Great action, check. You had everything I wanted here. And, man, I did lower my expectations a little bit just in case, and that actually paid off. I don't know if I'm going to see this one again like I did with No Way Home, because I'm not free next weekend. I have a couple bar mitzvahs to go to, or a couple bar mitzvahs to go to, and then on Sunday, I just don't know if I'm going to want to go see it. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to go see it, but things might change. But if I don't see it next weekend, I can't see it 2 weeks from now. I might see it 3 weeks from now, but I don't think that'll change anything. I might just do a video on my thoughts on the Batman now. So, I don't know, we'll see. And overall, I just think this is one of my favorite Batman movies now. I think this is the best comic book movie since Endgame. I flat out said that. Possibly Infinity War. I thought this movie was fantastic. It's no Dark Knight, because if it was the Dark Knight, as good as the Dark Knight, that would mean a top 15 movie of all time. And yeah, it's not there yet. And overall, I thought this movie was just great. Like, you had also Jim Gordon, which you didn't really see you saw him doing work with Batman and like the Batman Begins in the Dark Knight, not as much as you see in this movie. Like they're full-on partners. And Batman Begins in the Dark Knight, like Batman's delivering information to Gordon or vice versa, but you don't really see them like going on missions together. This one, you see Batman and Gordon doing this investigation about the Riddler. And I think the fact there's some funny little scenes about like after the opening scene where you see the Batman just kind of being there and he's towering over all these policemen. I think all the story beats worked perfectly. The length did bother me, but I'll talk a little bit about that later. Catwoman was also a great character. I thought maybe they were going to overstuff this movie a little bit, but I think unlike Spider-Man movies, I feel like with all the Batman movies, which have tons of villains, I think they're able to balance them out quite nicely. Whether it's this movie where you have 3 different villains, 4 if you want to include Catwoman, where one of them is kind of the lurking threat around. One of them ends up being the guy from The Mystery. I'm not going to spoil who that is. And then the other one who's sort of just like a looming, just a smaller threat in the Penguin. And overall, I think all of those mixed together worked pretty perfectly in my opinion. I didn't have any problems with any of the villains or any of the action. I thought all of it was just fantastic. And the other characters, I don't think Alfred was as prominent as I thought he would be. Andy Serkis is still pretty good as Alfred. I think I prefer Jeremy Irons from the DCU as well as Michael Caine from the Dark Knight trilogy. He's still pretty good in the role. And overall, another thing I wasn't too big on was I thought we didn't get enough Bruce Wayne compared to Batman, but whatever. And overall, I have a couple nitpicks. I'm going to get to those in a minute, but still. I think every little beat for this movie, it takes a little inspiration from movies like Seven. Just so you know, I haven't seen it, but I just wait from the internet. So before any of you get surprised in the comments below, just want to note that. And overall, the story just works perfectly. And as it builds up to this mystery, I wish it was solved a little bit later, but I'll talk a little bit about that later. So I just think it all works perfectly. The tension is there. You have Batman sort of going into action right from the beginning. You have great characters throughout this thing, and I was just impressed. I was a little worried going into it. Maybe the length would have bothered me, and it did. I would have no problem seeing it again. Next up, you have the mixed stuff, and a couple things. First one, I do think the lack of a chin strap on the Batman, where you compare it to this, it's a little weird looking, but it doesn't bother me. I think the suit, I was like, really, this is the suit? And then in the movie, it doesn't bother me as much, but in the trailers, it definitely bothered me. Another thing, there's a scene where an explosive blows up in Batman's face, and he's just fine. He can run out these guards. That's like but that's minor. It doesn't bother me that much. At the same time, it's nice that they don't linger on it too much. Yeah, and I said this earlier, we didn't get enough Bruce Wayne. Like, when he's Bruce Wayne, I feel like he only occupies like 30 minutes of the screen time in 3 hours. So, probably maybe a little bit more or a little bit less, I'm not sure, but literally, only 30 minutes. Like, that's kind of surprising to me, because when you have a 3-hour movie about Batman, there'd be a lot more Bruce Wayne, which is sort of the opposite of the Dark Knight Rises, where that has, no Batman, but tons of Bruce Wayne. I don't know, that was interesting. And overall, other than that, the story still worked for me. I do think the length bothered me, but also another issue is that they figured out the mystery involving Falcone a bit too quickly. I feel like maybe just 20 minutes, a little bit longer, that's when they solved it, and then they arrested him, got all the things down with the Riddler, had that prison scene, and then you have a voiceover from the Batman, and then the movie ends. I kind of wish that was the case, rather than it keeps going, and then to the spectacle-filled finale, which it was odd. But at the same time, the action itself was great. So, that's what I'm sort of mixed on. But I don't think but still, it's a little, you didn't have to do that. But other than that, I still think the action was great. And the ending, it ended on a very weird note for me. I love seeing the Joker there. I think that was the Joker, it's either Joker or Two-Face. I'm assuming Joker. And then you have that, and then you also have the Catwoman, that whole thing. That was a bit of a weird way to end the movie. Maybe if on rewatches that won't bother me, but on first watch I did have issues with that. I have the bad, and the main thing I just wasn't a fan of, I think it was just a little bit too long. I don't think it needed to be 3 hours. Maybe make some of the scenes a little bit shorter, maybe fix up the ending a bit, and then I think maybe a good 2 hour and 40 minute movie, but it goes on for a little bit too long. That's like my one issue with it. Like I know you needed to do a bunch of this stuff, but like if you're gonna do a 3-hour movie, I feel like just do a bit more character development, do a bit more with Bruce Wayne, and I don't think they used the full extra 40 minutes or however long it was, 30 minutes to their full potential. Other than that, that's like my only real issue. Like a lot of the stuff in the mix like are huge nitpicks, and overall, Catwoman works. All the other characters work as well. Why did I mention Catwoman? I don't know. For this movie's final score, I'm going to give it like a 9.5, 9.6 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. That's more fair. I do feel like I need to see it again, but I don't know when, because next weekend I don't think I'm free. We'll see. I'll let you know if I see it again. Because if I do, that means I'm going to see it again and then rank all the Batman movies. I'll see what my schedule. I'll let you know in future videos. Anyway. Loved it. I thought it was such a pleasant surprise. I liked it more than No Way Home. Sorry, friends. And I just thought Robert Pattinson was great in the role. A bit more brooding than I think Christian Bale was. Much darker than Christian Bale or Ben Affleck. Not as brutal as Ben Affleck. Actually, that's debatable. But still, like, I thought he was great in the role. I think the Riddler, Paul Dano is the Riddler. Paul Dano is however you pronounce it. Was great. Very creepy. Such a looming threat. You also have Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He was great. I'm going on with the villains. I don't know who plays Falcone, but I thought this is the better version of the Falcone character that we've gotten from between Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and between Batman Begins and this. So it's as simple as that. I absolutely loved it. Tell me what you thought about the comments in this movie. Comments below. I don't know how you can dislike it if you're a Batman fan. If you're not, so be it. But still, I loved it. I don't think it's best Batman movie. I don't know where it places. I'm still thinking about it. 2, 3, or 4 for me. But I loved it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. See you guys next time. Adios.